Well, here I find myself back at the big box store because this leg project has turned into more of a challenge for me, I guess. So I've looked at a bunch more videos, and I've taken advice from friends and subscribers, and so guess what's coming next? Stand by. Well, I have to clean up this mess. Got the steamer home. Looking at this mold again. I don't think I'm going to reuse it. And also, some of the wood that I already have ripped up and ready to go. I did a little further research into this stuff. I thought I did my homework pretty well before I got started, but I was kind of in a rush to get going with this. And so maybe not my due diligence to do what I could, but you want quarter sawn. So if you have a choice of rotating your board before you rip it down, you want it quarter sawn. And while I was watching all these YouTube videos, my lovely wife came out here and cleared off the driveway partially. I hate to show this. It just shows my stupidity sometimes. All this beautiful. Now, I don't really care about some of this stuff, but it was, you know, it was all rough sawn oak, mostly. But there's the cherry, so I'm gonna grab another couple sticks of cherry, get them into the shop, and plane them down and start over on this somewhat. One day, my very good friend Jared called me up and said, "Hey, I just found a piece of PVC laying on the side of the road. Do you want it?" He says it's a pretty decent sized PVC. I said, "Sure, I might use it someday, you know." So he brings me this. It's massive. Apparently, it must have fallen off of a truck because it's got some rubs on it. But, doggone, I think it's about a 10-inch pipe. So, this is going to be my steam chamber. I'm going to cut it up with the chainsaw a little bit, make about a 5-foot box. That should get just about anything in there that I want, I hope. I've got this really super dense foam. I use it for packing stuff. And so I scribed the outline of this thing on here. It's not perfectly round. I bandsawed it, and then I put a taper on each one of these, about halfway down. And so it's either gonna seal it and stay there, or I'm gonna have like a gigantic cork gun. I used the drops from cutting out the circles, cut them in half. One's taller than the other, so when the moisture builds up in it, it'll run down, and I'll pop a little hole in the bottom here and drip it into a pan or something. All right, it's not a perfect edge. I really don't care. I just wanted to get rid of the really super rough chainsaw chip broken parts of it, so I trimmed both sides up. And there was a big crack in it right here, but that shouldn't affect anything. I think my plug will go down below that. All right, next step. Okay, I laid a board flat on the table. This was flat on the table. I laid a board and I scribed a line. And then I eyeballed the other side and scribed a line on the other side same way. And I'm drilling little 1/8-inch pilot holes every 6 inches. And then I'm using a Forstner bit, which cuts through here pretty doggone quick. I'll do one here if I can do it one-handed. Pretty thick stuff. Looks like it's about 1/4 inch thick, at least. But what I'm gonna do is insert dowels in here, and there'll be my rack on the inside. So get this process over with here in a quick hurry. So what I'm doing is I'm driving these 1/2-inch oak dowels through both sides, and then I put a washer and a screw on the end of it, and I drive it back through. They're tight, so I don't think they're going to move at all, but just to keep them in place for sure. Then once I push it through and I have it flush on the back side, I flush cut it with this guy, and then I put a screw and a washer on this side. Drill a little pilot hole. It's like a little hand steamer thing, and I cut that off, and I'm going to drill a hole in the box and then screw this, or a hole in the tank here, and I'll screw that to the lid right up in here somewhere, and then I can plug right into it. All right. I have installed with a nut and bolt the little scoop that's pointing down. I stuck in this piece of wood here. It's flat cut, so I don't think it's, the grain's going the wrong direction, but I'm gonna give it a try anyway. I'll let it sit in here and steam for a while. Let's see. The rule is 15 minutes for every 1/4 inch thickness, so I'll give it 45 minutes once it starts steaming. I filled this with cold water, so it's going to take a while. But this is the first test, so as soon as I start seeing some steam come out, I'll put the plug in this end, and we'll see if it holds pressure or whatever. Here goes. Knock on wood. It's either that or it's going to be the world's largest cork gun. I'm starting to hear the water boil. I got one piece of wood in there, and we'll see what happens. There's the little scoop I made and bolted in, because it's got the threaded end on top. And oh, I see some air down at the bottom of that thing. I'm looking through here now. I guess I got to hammer that end in pretty good. All right, I just hammered the oversized plug all the way in, so shouldn't have any leaks now. Well, my thermometer started to move after about 15 minutes now. It's just coming off of 160. So the only disconcerting thing that I have right now with this operation is this tank, after reading the book here, and I saw several examples of this on YouTube that people made tanks out of and boxes and whatever, but 75-minute working time. So it runs out in 75 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes. So that doesn't give me a lot of time to work with big chunks of wood. And I think I'm not really sure how to refill it. I guess it'll hold its heat and humidity in there while I refill it and reboil the water, but it took about an hour to boil that water. I didn't time that part, so I'm just guessing. It probably didn't take near that long. You know how long it takes when you're watching it. But all right, well, we'll see what happens when I pull the part out in a little while. Well, it's been on about 30 minutes. I'm at 175 degrees, and the other problem I'm having is this crack right here is blowing steam out like crazy. So there's a couple things I need to fix on it, but for a first run, I'm actually pretty pleased. And when I pull this part out, I mean, it's just a piece of wood. It might not work because the grain's running the wrong way, but I'm just gonna let it go until this thing is empty. I'm gonna see if their 75-minute time thing is accurate. It's still pretty heavy. I'm picking it up and it's still got quite a bit of water in it, but we'll see how it turns out. And then I'm just gonna clamp it to this center section of my mold that if any of you have been following me, you know what this piece is. All right, and I'm trying to concentrate and not jiggle the camera around a bunch because I get complaints about that. So, okay. So I have my very dear friend here. He's holding the camera. I'm sure he doesn't want to be known. Catch him later. So I'm putting on gloves because this is going to be really hot. I'm tired of waiting because I know I've had this in here long enough. So here goes nothing. I'm going to open her up, and we got steam, baby. All right, I'm going to try and form this. Wow. Let's see what happens here. Come on, baby. It's too thick. I don't have ample clamps for this, I don't think. Ain't gonna happen. Well, I can bend it pretty good, but it certainly is going to require some much larger clamps. And I cut it the wrong direction. So this is what I was talking about earlier with the flat grain. You need to cut it quarter saw it. So if it were cut this way, quarter sawn, it would have bent a lot better, but this is just going to split wide open, and it's already pretty much over. Well, see it splitting? This is what happens. This is what happens if it's not quarter sawn. But you know, it's a really super thick piece too. That's about it. All right, well, anyway, thanks for watching. This was, you know, I hammered this thing out in no time. Only about, I got water all over the table. It only took me about 2.5 hours to build this thing. And I'm happy with it. Seems to work just fine. I got a couple tweaks to do on it and insulate it maybe, and then I'll try something else. So stay tuned for the next episode, and thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, all that stuff, and we'll chat at you another time. Thanks.